Okay. Thank you. Did I touch it?
She's usually louder anyways.
Okay. I'm
You're
like,
usually louder. I need to gauge you and Dad when you're on site, your bike. I have to turn you down anytime I cut between.
That's because I project.
I need to turn.
You are louder than me. I have you lower.
Yeah, I need to do that on site. Dad's like, and then you're like, all right. And I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh. I'm enthusiastic. I can't help it. I can't help it.
35 plus years building pools in Austin, local to more North Austin area, Leander, Cedar Park. What is the distinguishing factor? What do you think that like makes us different than like all the other guys? I'm not going to say names, but like the bigger names that people would be more familiar with.
I feel like what makes it different and what makes it special is that it is a family business. I mean, the legacy that we are creating is extremely important to all of us, right? This is our dad's company, and their whole livelihood is literally from this business. And so, you know, I just think about how blessed we are that we've been able to, you know, get along the way that we do and that we can work together, and that you have amazing strengths that, you know, I don't have, and I have some strengths that you don't have, but it just is such a great blend of everyone's like best traits, and we all still love each other at the end of the day. But I think ultimately it comes down to the love and attention and the caring that is all of us at our core. And that translates to the way that we treat our homeowners, the way that we take care of their backyard. We take care of that relationship. We don't leave people hanging, you know, we answer our phone. We over communicate, as Dad would say, because I like to say a lot of words. But, you know, I think that really matters, because at the end of the day, I live in Leander. You live in Georgetown. Jim lives out in Lago Vista. We are going to run into the homeowners that we are building pools for in those areas of town. And when we cross paths with our homeowners, we've developed a relationship with them. We've been in their backyard every day. You know, we get to love one another. And so when we see each other at HEB, we embrace. We don't hide from you, because we've done exactly what we said we were going to do. We came in, we took care of your property. We did a really fantastic job. We kept it clean along the way. We stood behind it. We were there every day. We got it done in the timeline that we were promising. And now we're leaving you with this amazing backyard that you're going to now enjoy for years and years to come with your family. And so we are becoming a part of those family stories in a way that is beyond the transaction of the buy, sell, construction. It is more of a caring relationship, wanting to literally treat these people like these are our friends, and we look forward to getting invited to the pool party later. And I really think that that makes all the difference. And then we have this legacy, right? We're going to take care of Mom and Dad. My son wants to open up the pool service side of Austin Dreamscapes. So he's out there learning pool service and how to do the startups. And then, you know, my daughter Kira is out there designing pools now, and she's like loving it and helping me with the 3D renderings. I mean, it truly is a legacy business. And your new baby Piper, who knows? Maybe she'll be the next pool designer in the future.
Figure out what her interests are, where she can fill in.
Yeah, there's so many different things.
Something that we haven't got that need for yet, or need, but no one to fill that space yet.
Yeah.
Why do you think that some people take 6, 7, 9, 12 months plus to finish a pool, where we come in and are efficient with the timelines and are able to just be in and out of your yard in 10 weeks to sometimes, I mean, the quickest I think we've done is 4 plus 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Why do you think some people take so long?
Well, I think that goes back to, we are very intentional about the amount of projects that we take on at any given point. I think that's really important to us, because to Jim, he worked for the big guys. You know, Jim is an old dog. He's got lots of old tricks, and he knows so much, and he has such a wealth of knowledge, and he knows the difference between, you know, more pools than one person can handle. And he set out intentionally to operate this business here in Austin with an intention to only having the amount of pools that one person can reasonably expect to visit every single day and be able to take a very, active approach and active in the fact that he is there and he's sometimes getting lunch for the guys or he's running and getting materials, but he's there and he's seeing what's happening and he's able to head things off at the pass. And because that is such a value to him to be on site at each of these projects every day, we've gotten really good at scheduling these and honestly geographically placing them in such a way where they're all kind of centered around, one hub, right? Maybe we have 3 to 5 projects at one time at any given point during the year. And we try to put those, within a radius of maybe 15 miles, 20 miles of one another. And that allows you and him to be able to get on site and see these things and maybe even make multiple site visits per day. And that right there makes all the difference, because if you don't have eyes on the project, things are going awry. That's when mistakes happen. That's where the guys get too far, go in the wrong direction. And it really does kind of get a snowball effect, right? Then also, because we're there, we see, this stage of it only has another day. So let me go ahead and call XYZ person and get him lined up because I'm going to need him on Tuesday. And then boom, literally like clockwork. Like you don't have a down day with Austin Dreamscapes.
Or how about even the benefit of our subs being families of they are also related.
Right.
They are also friends. So
Right.
if we're not making the call, they even have the communication to make the call themselves.
Right.
Talk to each other and then bring us in the loop and say, hey, I already got this schedule. Where's my
Right.
rebar over here? Whatever that they are already communicated, where some of the other companies, it's like a race to the bottom to pay these guys dirt cheap, nothing.
That's
and that
true.
quality then shows up down the road of why should I care or put in the extra effort? Where's the pride in the work if you're just disenfranchised subs everywhere that have no idea who's even coming behind them? What's the reason to not leave a bunch of trash, not fill in this hole, not help this other guy do their phase of it? Everybody is their own unique craftsman in their own right and has such a deep knowledge base and love for what they do, but also for our company, which I've heard from a lot of these guys that work with other pool builders that is a lot of love lost in this industry. A lot of people don't really care about how they treat their guys. You're just a replaceable worker, it feels like, and that's really sad.
Yep.
So not even direct family of us, like Kira, Raiden, Dad, you, but then it's like our guys, Skinny, Chapara, and then we've had customers talk about the camaraderie between the crews and how amazing all they are, and they'll come out there and have a conversation with everybody. It becomes like a little party. I've heard some people even say that they're sad when the build is wrapping up. I'm like, yeah, we want to get out of your yard, but it's like, well, I missed these conversations with Jim and all your guys. So I think that's a pretty cool separator that I've noticed from not working in other companies, but just hearing stories and tales of the horrors of the industry. So I think that's pretty cool.
I think that's a really good point that you touched on, because we are small, we do not have our guys on full-time working with Austin Dreamscapes. So our excavator works for other companies because we don't dig a pool every day. That's intentional. We actually spread them apart, maybe a week apart or 2 weeks apart is like the right rhythm, because literally what I want from one phase to the next to be able to have time for that person, that phase of the project to complete. And then I want to move right on to the next one. Well, because we do that, and because we have, this timeline set up in between stages, these guys will go work for other builders. And we hear this all the time. We hear them say, for instance, Skinny, I only have $1,500 for you to dig this pool. Can you do it? When he would charge us $5,000. It's worth $5,000. That is, if you want it done right, you pay good money for very good, skilled professionals and subject matter experts. And so we pay them what they're worth. And that is something that we hear all the time, because some of these guys out here, our competitors, are literally on a race to the bottom in the fact that they want to be the cheapest pool. And they want to get the homeowner that wants a cheap, fair price, but they want a cheap price ultimately at the end of the day. And you get what you pay for. And there is going to be someone who is desperate enough to dig that pool for $1,500. And that's when things go awry. That's when the pool is smaller than it was supposed to be, or bigger than it was supposed to be, or what have you.
Or like on those home renovation shows, they come out asking for more money because they've made a giant mistake. And so now that savings turned out to be a bigger investment than you ever anticipated. And you're like, this is a lot of headache, hassle, and now extra money that like, what's the point of even using you? And there's been a big problem with concrete cancer as well. Having that pop up, the race to the bottom element now has resulted in people doing their pool twice.
Devastating.
And
it's devastating.
The way that prices go, they just keep going up every year. It doesn't get cheaper to build a pool just because inflation adjusts and costs change. Everything just kind of slowly creeps. So you built a pool pre-COVID. You spent $100,000.
Yep.
Now imagine you saved a little bit of money. Another bid came in, $115,000. Now a couple years later, prices are already that $100,000 pool now becomes over the original high bid, 130,
135. Yeah.
Now factor in the demolition cost,
right,
and rebuilding the whole thing. Do you want it to be the same as it was? Do you want to add extra material? You want to take things away? Even so, now you'll end up with a smaller pool for more money, and you're still on the hook for that original loan.
Yeah, it's devastating.
If you took out that financing, you're already underwater significantly, literally. And so it's just things to factor in that I don't know if there's enough foresight from like what that savings is actually doing. Like,
I've had conversations because of all of these concrete cancer cases. I have had conversations with homeowners that did not choose us. I went out. I gave them a proposal. I gave them the bid. They loved it. They loved our story. They loved us personally. But we were, to your point, $20,000 more expensive. If there is a $20,000 difference between my bid and my competitor's bid, there is something big that is missing there. I know, because my guys work for other builders, I know where the market is. I know what people are out there paying. I know. I ask my homeowners and they share these bids with me that they're getting from the competitors. And I am in the margin of, within a percentage that is something where we have that conversation. Is it worth it? Can I bring value to the table that makes it worth that 5% more? Because we're there every day. We build a pool in 6 to 8 weeks. You're going to get this, this care, this attention, the way that we overbuild things. And, we get that. But I literally have had homeowners come back to me now. They have a pool that has concrete cancer. They saved $20,000 by going with the other guy. And now that $100,000 pool, to your point, cost $30,000 to demo. So now we're at $130,000. And then now to rebuild the thing, it's $135,000, was like apples to apples. But remember, they paid 20% less. So you're looking at you're getting into the $300,000 mark, or $250,000. That's insane. That is insane for one pool. And these homeowners can't leave it like that. They have to address it. And so we've got so many conversations going where, how can we help people fix it? What do we do now? I feel like this is a calling. We're really blessed in the fact that we do not have any concrete cancer pools. Not a single one. Not a single one. And I think that goes back to the testament where, Jim started this business in San Diego and he was building pools way back in the 80s. He's been doing this forever. When we came here to Austin in 1992, he went to work for the big builders. He knew the difference between Gunite and Shotcrete. There is a big difference. And there's probably going to get some backlash on this comment, but I'm going to make it anyways. Gunite is like buying a dresser from Haverty's, solid oak wood, and Shotcrete is like buying a dresser from IKEA. It's composite wood, plain and simple. The aggregates that are used in that mix are big chunks of rock in some of those Shotcretes because we see it. We see it now being pulled out in these core samples. These core samples have varied sizes of big chunks of rock. It's the chunks of rock that had the alkali silica, right? It was contaminated rock that they were using. That is now reacting to the water, of course, because it's a pool, it holds water. And so they're getting this alkali silica reaction. With Shotcrete, you have these big chunks of basically, not to put it in any worse terms, but like infected. It's infected rocks, right? So you have these big chunks of rocks. Cancerous rocks. Right, tumors, basically. You have this other product out here, Gunite. It doesn't use rocks. It uses sand. So that sand, even if it had that same infection, is not going to have the same reaction as these big chunks of rock are. So right there, I always say to homeowners too, I'm like, imagine we've got a glass jar. In this glass jar, I'm going to put marbles in it. In this glass jar, I'm going to put Nerds candy in it. I'm going to take the same glass of water and I'm going to pour it into the vase or the vase that has marbles, and I'm going to pour the same amount of liquid into the one with Nerds candies. Which one's going to fill up faster? Obviously, the one that has the big chunks of rock. So that is why that is a cheaper product. Shotcrete is cheaper. So when you are on a race to the bottom, you want to be the cheapest pool builder out there, you go with the cheapest product, Shotcrete. We've never done that. We're like, no way, man. We're not going to do that. We don't want to use Shotcrete that uses fly ash. Fly ash is an ingredient that should never be used in the first place. You've got Gunite that uses Portland. Portland is cement. Cement is good. Fly ash is bad. So I just like, this is something that never affected us because of the fact that Dad knew this. He's so smart and he already knew, like, I'm not going to cheap out. And that goes to everything that we do. I mean, every little piece of it, even the hydraulics of the pool. You know, the returns, for instance. I love talking to people about our returns. This is such a simple thing, but it makes such a huge difference. This huge difference is literally, we go to the shop, right? There's a shop where everybody goes. All the pool builders are going to the same shop. We're buying these parts and pieces that go into the shell. The returns are the little things that go in the pool, and there's like 5 to 6 of them. And that's actually what's like rotating the water in the pool. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to rotate that water so that little June bugs or leaves that end up on the top floating around, we want to get those into the skimmers. So standard is a bag, and it comes with all your parts and pieces. And in this bag are the pieces that go in the wall. And then also there's what's called eyeballs, not these kind of eyeballs, but eyeballs that literally like get screwed into the side of your pool. They come with these 3/8 holes, which is a tiny little hole. So Jim's like, nope, I don't want that. Rips the bag open, gives those piece of trash eyeballs right back to our guy and says, I don't want those eyeballs. Give me the 1/2-inch eyeballs. I want the bigger hole. Well, why do we do that? Well, more flow of water now is happening in your pool. And more flow of water means better hydraulics. More flow of water means better everything. Keeps your pool clean. It's amazing. You have some amazing drone footage of a pool that is done by Austin Dreamscapes and the amount of ripples in that pool. And then as we come up, and I hope you cut to this when you play this video.
It right here, and I'm going to show the video that
it's
we're
shocking.
Referencing of a side-by-side of what our pool flowing, circling. You can see the glistening of the sun, and then it pans out and you can see the neighbor's pool, which is also running, but you wouldn't know by looking at it. It looks dull. There's no flow.
Right.
It just looks like
still,
a boring,
bland
water pool. So for that little bit extra thought of putting a larger jet, even our pump is typically going to be a little bit more oversized and create more of that circulation and flow. Which another great point of that is it cools your pool a little bit more. So we've all been in like a pool in the middle of the summer and it's hotter than it is outside. You only want to be in it for a couple minutes and then you jump out because it's not really refreshing anymore.
It's a bathtub.
So all of that flow is helpful. And then also too, you don't have to get out there and brush it and net it as much. It's going to be doing it on its own. That's really beneficial. That's awesome. It also prevents staining of your plaster. That life is a little bit now extended because of that extra thought of let's move this water a little bit more. And it just looks really nice.
Well, think about a river.
Beautiful.
Think about a river. Where do you swim? You swim where there's moving water because the current keeps it clean, right? You don't swim in stagnant water. That's where infections come from. So I look at my son is doing a great service right now because he's out there servicing. Get it? He's doing a great service by servicing pools. He is seeing all these different pools by all these different builders, and he'll come home and he'll tell me about these things. And it's like, the simplest thing, like an overflow. You know how many people think about the overflow? Like, this is crazy to me. What happens when we get these huge thunderstorms in Austin, Texas, right? Like Central Texas gets these big, heavy rain downpours real fast. A lot of water falls. And when that happens, if you don't have an overflow, that water is coming up out of that pool and literally coming over the coping and coming and flooding your decking. Like, an overflow drain allows you to control the water so that now we can actually put that in a drain and into a plumbing, channel and send it out to the part of the yard where we want it. That is something that is just such a simple little duh. Of course I would do that. Why would I not?
And from a building perspective, that water is so strong and causes so much destruction to your decking. It causes cracking, shifting, pulling. All of that now is going to show its head pretty quickly after you get a couple storms, and then it freezes, and then now you have that expansion of ice and it starts cracking and shifting and pulling. I mean, it's a lot of extra work and things that are going to go wrong for such a small little extra of like, let's put a little tiny piece of PVC in
right.
instead of just letting it flow over the top.
Right.
What are just the thought is just a little bit extra.
Right.
Where it just seems like, where are y'all focusing your attention with some of these other builders? It's because you're building 200 pools at one time. Like, why would you think about anything other than just like, mad scramble to spend 3 minutes at this pool and then get to the next one? So it's just that little bit of extra thought of all of the little things. I mean, so many people will put in plumbing, equipment, all the conduit, and it's like, wow, I never knew there's so much in a pool, because once it has water in it, you don't understand how much stuff is happening underneath that water. Like, it just seems like you dig a hole, you throw some concrete in, there we go, I got a pool. I've gotten that comment from so many people, and looking online at comments, it's like, well, these pools are so expensive, these guys are making a killing off of like what? You just dig a hole and like throw some water in it? I'm like, good luck. Good luck.
Well, that's why a bunch of people during COVID got into the... Okay. Thank you. Did I touch it?
She's usually louder anyways.
Okay.
I'm usually louder. I need to gauge you and Dad when you're on site, your mic. I have to turn you down anytime I cut between.
That's because I project.
I need to turn...
You are louder than I have you lower.
Yeah, I need to do that on site. Dad's like... And then you're like, all right. And I'm like,
my gosh. I'm enthusiastic. Yeah. I can't help it. Oh, man. Where were we? Okay. So I really think that there is a lot to be said. When you look at our website, I look at our competition, and they don't show a lot of the construction photos. They don't want you to see that. And I think that really speaks to the nature of our business, and the way that we do business is very transparent. And at the table, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to the homeowner, and I'm trying to convince them that what we're going to be doing with that shell is incredible. And what we do is unlike most of the other pool builders in this industry. And I think that that really does show itself, well, because they can get on our website, they can look at the projects folders. You've done such a great job at building that thing out and putting in these photographs to really show you the spacing of our rebar is insane. The fact that we use rebar bars and we don't, put a rebar here on the wall and one piece of rebar here on the floor and then to do ties to put it together. No, I explained this to homeowners. I'm like, literally, this is one big 1/2-inch bar of steel and we bend it. Now you have like a monolithic wall. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. And I look at some of these shows, these builders that are on HGTV, for instance, right? And I remember watching these amazing guys, and they're like, oh, we're the best builders in the world. Look at these amazing things. And I first started with the company, and I had taken a picture. I was watching it, getting some ideas about some amazing ways to build pools. And I stopped frame, took a photo, and they literally had these squares of rebar that were 3/8 rebar, thinner than what we use, and they were 12 inches on center. That means every 12 inches there's a bar going this way, and then 12 inches there's a bar going the other way. And I'm like, that is insane to me. That is not what we do. What do, Trevor?
4.
It's insane. 4.5 inches. Like the floor of our pools are literally carpeted in 1/2-inch new steel. And that is literally because if there's going to be a crack anywhere, it's going to be on the slope, which is on the bottom. So like we'll have inspectors come out and they walk up out on our pre-pour, inspection before we can shoot gunite. And they literally have said, wow, like nobody does this. This is why we are a little bit more expensive, because we build them in a better way than our competitions do, just plain and simple. My dad has this great joke, and I love to say it. He does it better than I do, but he says, literally, Mr. T, I pity the fool that has to take out my pool. Like, I love saying that because it's true. Like, literally, whoever has to come take our pool out is going to have a hard time doing it. We have been taking out some pools. These pools with concrete cancer, for instance.
They come out easy. Some of them are like...
Some of them are so easy.
In a couple hours, the pool's gone.
So crazy.
I'm like, what was this? Was there any rebar in here at all? And I'm like,
Crazy.
yeah, there's a little pile over there. And I'm like, well, you jackhammering through it before you see any bars. You go over a couple inches and you're still just complete concrete.
Yep.
And if you know anything about pouring concrete, the more rebar, the better. Like, you can't just pour a bunch of concrete and expect it to hold up. Like, it is the thing that holds it together. Like, if you're building a retaining wall and you put a bunch of blocks up and you just mortar it in and then keep stacking like some Lego blocks and you don't dow in and put some rebars to reinforce it, you could go up just and that wall's going to blow over. It's
I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in.
It's insane. Just the amount of, I don't know how to quite describe it. Just the lack of care and like just once I'm done with this pool, I'm going to skedaddle out of here. And if anything goes wrong, I'll just fold my LLC. I'll start a new company name, and then I'll piggyback off of all the experience that I have. I've been in this business for so long. And then you go, how long have you been doing it under this name? How many pools have you had that you've gone through litigation for? How many other problems have you had? Explain a little bit more about your experience, where we have been, like you said, so transparent and trying to display exactly what it is that we're doing. I intentionally making that website went and looked all around the country at different pool websites and was amazed at how like the pictures that they pick. A lot of times you're not even sure if it's even their work. It's all stock photos. It'll be a local to California pool and it looks like a picture from a Florida pool, or you'll be in Arizona and it's clearly a pool from like, I don't know, New Zealand or something. There's like mountains and stuff. And I'm like, what? This obviously doesn't showcase your work at all. And then there's like a couple little links and then it goes off and then it's contact us for a free quote. And I'm like, why would I call you at all? But it's, I still have yet to really see a different, like transparent version of what we're displaying to really just show, like, I want you to ask me questions about this. I want you to dig deeper and say like, okay, I'm curious to know what makes you so confident in our product that it's like, what are you talking about? So many people can just say, because we love what we do and we have quality builds and I've been doing this forever, but then that's where it stops and there's no other context or explanation as to what exactly you're getting. It's just a bunch of fluffy words, and you have to kind of peel back that Oz curtain a little bit and say like, okay, is there a little man back here? Like, where is your big giant grandiose like head that's speaking? Is that real? No, it's an illusion. Almost always.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know where we're going there.
I don't know. I'm just excited with the like what we do versus it just. I don't know. A lot of this will have to be cut, but it's
I think we're gonna have to wipe off some of my glistening too. Oh my gosh, I need a fan in here or something. I'm like sweating under these lights.
It because the AC makes noise.
Yeah.
So
either that or I'm nervous. These lights, it's lights, camera, action. So I think the biggest difference between us and the other guys, we've spoken to it, but the owner of the company is us, right? We are all the owners of this company because it is this family business, which is just such a wonderful blessing. But we're there, we're there every day. The homeowners with most pool companies, it's my understanding that the salesman comes in, they will sing their song and dance and tell you all the things that they want you to hear. And, they talk a good game and they're like, oh, if you sign today, I'm going to give you $15,000 off, or I'm going to give you a veteran's discount. And, that is all just sales. It's all just smoke and mirrors. And when we come in, I do hear this all the time, how different we intentionally feel, because I don't want to be treated like a car salesman is selling me a car. I don't want you to throw in the floor mats. I want you to tell me what's actually possible for my backyard. I want you to sell me something that can actually be built, because this is the biggest thing Jim used to say. He would go to a homeowner's property as the general contractor, as the superintendent. He would show up and he would have to break the bad news to the homeowner. And he would say, I'm sorry, homeowner, that the salesman told you, but that's just not possible. We can't do it that way. And so then they're coming in and they're breaking their hearts. And he's like, the biggest thing in, when I started in this business in 2018, he was very mindful to keep me, on a short leash. And I was literally on his belt loop and I'm following him around from job site to job site. And I get in there, I get in the trenches. I'm like, show me what is happening. Teach me how to build a pool. And so as a salesperson and as a pool designer, I've gotten real good at being able to break their hearts on the front end and say, I love that idea, but it's just not possible. But here's what we can do. And most of the time that doesn't happen. Most of the time the ideas can definitely come to fruition. And we are here to make those dreams a reality. And that, as corny as that sounds, it is absolutely the truth. But we really do bring this thing to life, from amazing 3D rendering to amazing hydraulics and sparkly blue water and, cascading waterfalls. I mean, it truly is amazing. But I think that the biggest thing is that we stay with it the whole time. The homeowner can step outside and they can see, even sometimes me, but definitely you and Dad, you're there every day. So if the homeowner has any concerns, we want to hear about it. Like if you, whatever, did we park in your parking space? Like, tell me, whatever the thing is that you need, come out, talk to us, because we're there. If you have questions about the process, like you said, we definitely want to have these relationships with these homeowners, and they miss those conversations when we're gone, because we literally, we take time to have the important conversations and make sure that you know what's happening and make sure that you understand what's going in to the construction of this huge thing that's in your backyard, homeowner.
I love answering questions, and it just reaffirms what that you take for granted, because you're in the industry and you're doing this day in, day out. So why even give extra thought to this little thing? And then the homeowner will come to you and be like, oh, wow, I actually really want to get into the details about this and explain it to you. And then it sets it in for you of being like, I am looked at right now. It's like, I'm the expert. Okay, cool. Let me give you this education. So it's I don't know, like any industry, once you're in it for a long time, you just start to speak industry talk and kind of lose sight of what it is that is a layman term and what is a deep in the weeds term. And it's just kind of cool to give that education to people and then say it in different ways. Everyone has their different way of understanding and communicating and learning. And so it's really fun to convey that. And then even pulling somebody over and come here, let's do a little demo for you and show what exactly I'm talking about. Or let me pull out some pictures from the website and show you, okay, look right here. And wow. And you see that light click, and it just adds that extra level of I really trust you guys. Okay, I'm going to leave you to it, and I'm going to get back inside where it's 70 degrees and get back into it.
Let me get back into my AC.
Yeah.
Y'all have fun with that.
Go through. What are some questions that you typically get from a homeowner whenever you're at the table and they're asking you what's the difference between Austin Dreamscapes and the other guy?
Well, I think that one we've definitely touched on, but you had a good question there. What are some of the top questions that homeowners have when they're building a pool? And, when it starts at the design phase, I usually have them look for inspiration photos, right? Each pool is custom. We don't have a one-size-fits-all shop. That's what, most of the time, the homeowners are looking for. They want to honestly fiberglass pools are. You pick from this catalog of prefabbed fiberglass shapes, right? And it has X amount of benches, et cetera. Each custom pool is exactly that, custom, right? So we come out, we're going to look at the space. We're going to see what makes sense, right? Some people will show me pictures that are just not possible, because they want these, terraced, sunken, swim up bar. Okay, yeah, we could do that, but you do realize that actually means excavation of that swim up bar because you don't have that elevation change in that yard. You have a really flat piece of earth. So we can do that, but that's going to be very challenging. And, we talk through all of that, right? So we go from that visualization concept, show me pictures of what you're seeing, to what is actual. And that happens on site. And we're going to come out and we're going to evaluate every space. I'm not going to just have you fill out a questionnaire on the website and be able to give you a response and say, this is how much it's going to cost you. That every project is different and every homeowner's needs are different. And every homeowner may or may not know what their needs are. And as a good designer, my job is to find out, how are you going to utilize this space? What are you planning on doing in your backyard? Are you going to be entertaining? Are you trying to have backyard birthday parties where you're going to feed everybody? Are you guys a household full of grown kids that are going to come home and play volleyball? Like, what exactly is it that you're going to be doing? Are you retired couple, kids are off, and now this is your, retirement nest egg. You guys are sitting here with your, pina coladas or your glass of wine in the pool, and I just want to be in the pool and I want to be able to have my hair, still dry. Okay, well, so these are conversations that we play through and we play the tape forward at that design phase. And so that is usually a lot of get to know you at the beginning and figure out what is the most important thing to you. And then I always ask, what is your budget? Because I can give you the world, but if you only want to spend X, then I have that conversation. I'm like, okay, do you want to only spend X? Do you only want to see what X will get you? Or do you want to have it go the other way? You tell me what you want, and then I'll show you how much it costs. And then we have to start pulling things back. Or are you, really lucky and you have all of this expendable income and can just have whatever. Yeah. I mean, literally the homeowners that we meet are in the spectrum in between, from I have a budget, don't go over it, to whatever, I don't care. So I have to know where you're coming from. And then once we get in there, there's some things that are really important, right? I think the biggest thing that sets us apart is always this conversation about the quality of the water and salt water versus chlorine. I have that conversation all the time. So salt water is great, right? It's natural minerals. It's very soft on the skin. It doesn't smell like chlorine. People say if they have skin irritations, that if they're swimming in a saltwater pool, it's great. They don't have any kind of eczema flare up. Well, then the other side of it is the chlorine, right? It has a lot of positives, but it also has some negatives. You smell it. The old chlorine-filled community pool used to turn my blonde hair green. But salt has some cons as well because it's very corrosive. It's really hard on the equipment. It will eat away at rock because it just disintegrates. But some people love both of those. Well, here at Austin Dreamscapes, we have absolutely fallen in love with a product called the Nature 2 mineral cartridge system. And this is one of those examples where it is a couple $100 more, but the quality of the water that you're swimming in is night and day different. It is a perfect blend of the two pros of both of those systems. It is going to be easy to take care of, even easier than a chlorine pool and easier than a saltwater pool. But it is very soft on the skin. The water filters through.
Smell it as much.
You don't smell chlorine. That's right. If you have skin sensitivity, eczema, etc., this Nature 2 is it's very soft and gentle on the skin. So you get people that swim in our pools and they're like, wow, this is amazing. I don't have this reaction. I mean, it's just such a great thing. But again, it goes back to it's a couple $100 more. And so I can tell you this from the beginning that this item right here is the reason why it's a little bit more expensive, but the benefit to you long-term homeowner is worth it. It's worth a couple $100s to get that quality of water. Same thing with our plaster. Our plaster is smooth. We choose a real smooth bottom. We absolutely love this product called Sparkle Quartz, and it is just amazing, and it's beautiful, and it has these chips of quartz in it, but the benefit to you, homeowner, is that it's a really smooth, beautiful bottom. Most of these pool builders, or a lot of these pool builders, I don't want to say most, but a lot of these pool builders use these pebble, real chunky, material. And that's because it's very easy for them. If they have literally 50 pools right now that need plaster, that pebble is real easy to shoot. It's very forgiving of the water. And so if it rains at any point during the plaster process, on a Sparkle Quartz product or a smooth product, you're going to be able to see those raindrops. And so we try to wait because we do Sparkle Quartz, because we only have one pool that is waiting to be plastered right now. We have the luxury of time. We can wait for a good forecast. We can hold and we can say, you know what, let's wait till Tuesday, because after Tuesday, I've got 7 full days of clear skies. Let's get past this storm system. And then we're going to shoot our preferred product, plaster, Sparkle Quartz. It'll be this smooth bottom that you're going to now have for 15, 20 years, and it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be amazing. Versus the other guy who have 50 pools today. They do not have the luxury of waiting. So they push pebble. They choose to push this hard aggregate that is very rough on the feet and the toes. It will snag the bottom of your bathing suit, but they don't care if it rains on it because of the large aggregate. So because we have the benefit of time, because we care about the product that you're going to have for 15 years in your backyard, we choose to use these honestly far superior products when we build a pool. And that just goes to the attention to detail that we have in everything we do, including the eyeballs in the returns.
We even stay on top of like current pool trends where it's not business as usual, and we're not scared to make a change. If we see a product come into the market that is amazing, why not try it out? And if it ends up being something that is better, then it becomes part of our process. So it takes a little bit extra thought, a little bit extra time, but it like sealing it in with the
set and cure.
I blanked out now. Yeah, but using a set and cure to top off that plaster as well, lock it in.
Amazing.
Gives you even more life, and it keeps the chemical balance better. You use less chemicals. As that stretches out over time, you're making less runs to Leslie's, buying all that random stuff. You're not having to keep a guy out maintaining. Maybe you can skip a week or two because the pool is kind of maintaining itself with all these extra little things that we add and consider. It's going to pay for itself over time. It's just better.
Yeah. I love, we have this specialized startup method that is really different than anyone else that I know of. This was something that was one of these newest, latest, greatest trends that we, have our finger on the pulse, right? And we're like, what can we do to really protect this plaster? This is the final stage. This is literally, I'm walking into the party and I'm putting gloss on. Like, this is the color that people are going to see when they walk into their backyard. So the plaster is like one of the really most important parts, honestly, that beautiful blue that you chose. So what we do is we actually start up this pool. We apply this plaster. We put this product on it called Set and Cure. We do this acid wash, and maybe not in that order. It's, but plaster. Let me start over. So we do this great startup process, right? We're going to plaster the pool. We're going to do an acid wash on this pool, and then we're going to apply a product called Set and Cure, and that like locks it in and kind of, really just makes that beautiful blue just absolutely gorgeous. So then we have our pool startup guy come out, and he sets up this barrel drum on the side of the pool. And basically what's happening is we're pre-treating the water before it even hits your pool. Nobody does that. And the reason we do is because in Central Texas, we have really hard water. I had to buy a water softener because mine went kaput because it's such hard water here in Central Texas. So we pre-treat this water. We don't just put the hose in it. We put the hose into this Arenda barrel, treat the water before it touches our fresh plaster. And what does that do? Well, that is minimizing the amount of plaster dust that's coming off because that process, this brooming of this fresh plaster, that's something that a lot of pool builders kind of skip over. But like that's an important part of the process. Homeowner, I want you to broom your pool for 10 to 14 days after we have water in it and after we've started this pool equipment. And what happens is this plaster dust comes off the sides and it is like then going to get filtered out of the water, you know, using the filtration system and the skimmers, right? Like it's going to suck it out of the water. But with this pre-treatment, with the set and cure process, with this Orinda barrel, the amount of plaster dust that comes off is really getting to the point where it only is a couple days worth. But it's just one of these things that we do as like a standard operating procedure because we have found that it doesn't cost that much more to give an amazing experience and an amazing product for you, the homeowner.
That consideration, like we'd started to go that way of the prep and asking how you're going to use your pool.
Oh, I went
and
squirrel.
Like asking, okay, do you want to add a heater chiller to it later? Do we want to make your pad a little larger?
Yeah.
Hold off. You don't have to buy it now, but like tell me what you're thinking about in the next couple years.
Oh, yeah.
Are you considering doing that, or are you going to build a building over here, a big structure, and like, okay, are you going to have a kitchen in there? Is it just going to be just really like lightweight, flimsy, just kind of a pop-up thing? So do we need to make a big footer in the edge? Do we just want to pour like a little slab for you? Just that consideration of in the next few years, after you're done with your pool and after you've like made some payments and you feel a little more to get back on your feet and make another big purchase, like, okay, let's tie some of that in now while we're still on site. We have some concrete guys over here forming. Do we want to form you up something else as well? And like,
do we want to build a casita in the next 5 or 10 years? And if there's going to be a casita on your property, is it going to have a bathroom? Should we go ahead and pre-plumb and stub out for a bathroom? Like, let's consider all of that. And this is one of the reasons I think, you know, I have earned the trust of several homeowners in the fact that they talk to me about future plans, like the big picture plans. Even though I'm not putting in a turf, you know, green, a putting green for them now, I want to be intentional in the way that we do these designs and that we really think about the plumbing lines to get from the pool equipment, wherever that's going to sit, to the pool. I do not want to put a huge trench right through where I need to then trench later to be able to put a bathroom on that side of the property because I've got a casita in my future in 10 years from now. I don't want to do that. I want to go ahead and, you know, think about all the possibilities of this space. And then when I create a rendering, I actually incorporate all of those elements, even though that's not what I'm here to sell you today, right? Like I'm not here to sell you the casita that you're going to build in 10 years. Do I have a guy for that? Yeah, absolutely. I have some amazing contacts in the Austin area that I know are going to do good work, and I'm going to refer you to those people. And it's not me that's going to do it, but I want to incorporate that into the design because I want to be thoughtful. I want to be intentional. I want to not put the cart before the horse. I want to know what all the plans are and what you could be. We're future proofing is what we're doing really with those conversations. So yes, beyond and before we have the conversation of, you know, where are you going to be lounging around poolside is where are you going to put mom when she retires? Is there going to be a pool house on the, you know, back of that lot? Like those are really important elements, even though it may not be me that's going to build that for you, but I definitely build it in my design software because I want you to see the full vision and I want you to see how they all can come together because that's important to me.
And then also like drainage, runoff, like we
Right.
touched on with the slope of your yard. Maybe in your brain you have like an idea, but as you get out there, like you don't even really notice it until you kind of look back and you're like, you actually have a substantial drop and you're going to have to build a retaining wall there. I'm going to have to excavate all that back over here. This is going to change your design slightly, but like you need to put a little bit of money over here to keep this from all this mud running into your pool and then kind of just resituate your yard where I'm not sure a lot of other people consider those style pools. They just would maybe raise it up out of the ground and now you have some 4 foot out of the ground, like kind of oddly placed pool that just seems like an
Right.
afterthought and you're not really bringing in what blends with the yard. Like, how
Right.
are you going to use it? Like, I need you to think about, okay, I'm going to put something here, but like, okay, I need to also make sure the pool doesn't get full of muck every day. Like, that's
Right.
pretty good thought as well.
Right. I want to think that everyone does that because that seems such common sense. But the more and more I come across other pool designs, because people are transparent. I mean, I've got so many homeowners that have shared with me the proposals they've received from other, competitors of mine, or, these renderings. And I'm like, that's amazing, but that's not going to work. It's just not going to work for your space
It
because
seems
of
like common
XYZ.
sense. You should be thinking about these things.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would go out with our pool startup guy and does warranty work, and just out of curiosity, I went and did a route with him just to see like what other people are doing and what does his day look like. And it was amazing to me, the just lack of care and thought of some of these designs. And like, I saw one that was some weird spa thing, and I don't even quite understand. It baffles me. I'll wake up with nightmares sometimes and cold sweats. Like, what is that? But it's like this spa that's like in the middle of the pool with zero plumbing running to it. Like, it was like there wasn't any jets. Like, there was just one kind of like drain return thing. And I'm like, is there heat that can even like, what is that? It needs to just be drained and turned into like a little like seating area or something. But it just baffles me. It's insane that people just, yeah, I can do that. Give me some money and then I'll build it for you. So it's just
Yeah.
the common sense.
Yeah.
It's like, no, duh. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course you would do that.
I think it's amazing. I had one homeowner that we had met with. This was a while back. They had gone with another pool builder because they were $10,000 cheaper than me, which in the big picture on a $150,000 pool, a $10,000 difference wasn't really that much because their result was literally just the most horrendous thing that they had experienced. She called me in tears because they had made that guy walk off the property. They were like, get off my property. Don't come here anymore. It was just such a nightmare. And I remember we came in and, no judgment, of course. We were there with open arms and like, yes, let me help you. And she still tells this story to this day and almost gets teary-eyed about the fact that we came in, it was not an ego thing. We don't care that you didn't choose us. We want to do good by people and we want to, help people, right? Because there are so many guys out here that are not thinking that way. They're really just trying to buy a helicopter or whatever they're trying to do. And I have no interest in that. I want to do good work by people. I want to treat people like they are going to be future friends of mine because they are going to be. I want to do to them as I would want done to me. I want to see them at HEB later and I want to embrace with them. But I'm going to fix a problem that another builder made. And that was an amazing experience that they, just can't say enough good things about us because we helped them. We redid a lot of it, because we were like, this is not functionally possible. What this guy here was trying to do was not going to work because of X, Y, and Z. And it was like, just let's take this out. Let's start this over. And at the end of the day, they ended up spending more than that $10,000 because they went way too far in the wrong direction with the wrong builder. And I'm not meaning to say that because there are some great quality builders out there. Absolutely. But what we bring to the table is a smaller feel, an attention to detail, a personal relationship, a very fast timeline, and we think about everything as if it was our pool. And would we do that if that was our pool? Does it make sense to spend a little bit more here to be able to get this thing out of it? And usually the choices that we make are with that in mind. That is that bang worth the buck? And am I going to leave the homeowner with a better experience because of this thing that we've done? Is it worth it? And that is a cost analysis that we do on the daily when any new product comes to light.
Almost every pool that we build comes from a referral from another customer.
Absolutely.
And the beautiful thing about that too is we will pay you to talk to your friends. And if someone signs with us, we'll
That sounds terrible.
What do you
I don't
mean?
want to pay people to talk to their friends.
Well, no, I mean, you'll get a referral bonus. I want
We
to talk
do have
about
a referral
the-
bonus, and our referral bonus is really amazing because pool furniture, I don't know if you've shopped for those big lounge chairs that sit on your tanning ledge, but they are like $500 a pop. So if you know someone who's already in the market and you drop my name and they happen to go with me, I will help you buy that pool chair. Because yes, we do have an amazing referral program, and that is a $500 thank you gift for trusting us with your referrals. And that is a cheesy saying, but it's true. If you're going to say my name to a friend, you're putting your reputation out on the line for that person. You're going to, you know that we're going to do right by that friend because that is a relationship that obviously means something to you because you've referred us. You know we're going to take good care of that person, and you know that we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did for you. So why wouldn't you share our name? So thank you for that. Thank you for having a good experience with us and for trusting us and for letting us meet your friends. Here is a thank you gift of $500.
Yeah, that's probably why we're not one of the big brands that throws a bunch of advertising out there, and
We don't
we're
have to.
trying to get super huge because we're liking our little lane of.
We don't want to be super huge.
Yep.
I don't want to have 300 pools we do a year. That's too much. More pools, more problems.
Right.
Literally, I want to pay my mortgage. I want you to be able to pay your mortgage, and dad needs to be able to pay his mortgage. And that's it. We get this question a lot. Why don't you have a brick and mortar? And I love answering that question because we've looked at this. We've crunched the numbers. It doesn't make sense for us to have a brick and mortar because I have my finger on the pulse. I want to be competitive. I don't want to be so much more expensive than the other guys that you immediately throw me away, regardless of what I bring to the table. And so because we already are a little bit more, we're not the most expensive out there, by the way. We are absolutely not the most expensive, but because we are a little bit more than the big guys out there, the reason that we can justify that is because of the quality of product, the timeline that we can deliver, and the relationship that we're building. It is worth paying a little bit more for that. If I then have a brick and mortar on top of that, I have to charge you for that. Obviously, I'm going to stock my showroom with someone sitting there full time. I have to that price, the cost of all of that overhead has to go to the homeowner eventually. And I don't want to do that because I want to stay in business. And most of the job happens in the homeowner's backyard anyways. So why won't we make our office your backyard? I come to you. That's how this works. We sit around your dining room table and we design a pool together, and we then walk out into the backyard and we measure it off and we walk it and we make sure that this space works for everybody.
What's great too is because we take care of our customers, our showroom becomes literal backyards of other customers.
Great point.
Show me which project you're looking at on the website, and I will literally make a call. We'll set up a time, and I bet you we can just
Pop
connect you with the person whose pool you're inspired by.
Right.
They can give you some feedback,
And some of
show
them will
you,
say, sure, come on over. I'll open a bottle of wine.
yeah, which is amazing. That's an incredible part of this company that is so cool
Absolutely.
that we can
These relationships.
stand behind these relationships
Yeah.
for the long haul.
Absolutely.
5, 10, 20 years, we're like, yeah, that's
100%.
still, some people we've built multiple pools for even. They move and say, you're going to build me another pool when I move.
Yep. We're moving, build
Yeah.
the other one. And now we get a chance to do it a little differently this time. This time I want clean lines, sleek and modern. I think that's amazing. I think also too, what's really amazing is when I hear from people down the road and, you know, like I got a note from a guy the other day and he was like, hey, do you know anybody that's in the leak detection business? And I went, oh my God, why? What's happening? But I was like, I knew we've never had a pool crack ever, ever, ever. My dad has never had a pool crack, knock on wood, but that's because we build amazing pools. But literally he reached out to me asking if I knew anybody that did leak detection. Come to find out, has nothing to do with my pool. They had a whole bunch of extensive landscaping work that was done around the pool, and one of those guys hit one of our lines. So like again, our plumbing lines, we put our plumbing lines outside of the pool intentionally because it's a lot easier to get to them. I'm not going to put them in the pool shell. A lot of these builders will do that to save money, but I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to put them where I can actually get to them so that if there is a problem later, I can easily fix it. But you know, the point is with these long-term relationships, if there ever is a problem, we're not going anywhere. We've been here forever. We've been Austin Dreamscapes forever, even though don't like working in Austin. I like Leander and Liberty Hill and Round Rock and Cedar Park and
It's just a very complicated
Georgetown.
name. Georgetown, Leander, Liberty Hill, Dreamscapes. It's just very clunky.
It's a little clunky, but we like our little part of town up here. We don't really need to go in South Austin. No, I really think that it matters to people that we still answer the phone. You know, literally 10 years later, we have a lifetime warranty. Well, what does a lifetime warranty mean? Well, that means literally like the lifetime, not Dad's lifetime, my lifetime. Now Kira's lifetime. But I mean, we're here. We're not going anywhere. We're here to stay. And we answer the phone and we come back, even if it has nothing to do with us. We're coming back to help. You know,
How many other builders offer that lifetime warranty that's transferable to another buyer of your home?
No one offers a transferable warranty to the new owner. But I want to know, if you have a home that you're looking to sell, I want to transfer my warranty to that new homeowner because I stand behind my product. I stand behind the pool that I've built, so much so that I don't care who it is that's calling me because they have a problem later, because I know that I'm not going to really hear from them because they're not going to have a problem. They may say, hey, this is a beautiful pool. Thank you so much. That's the call I'll get.
Well, talking to realtors and you're selling a home and it's our pool right next door to a pool that was constructed by another company, the sell factor is a lot higher on a house with a pool, but a house with an Austin Dreamscapes pool is such an easy sell when you go apples to apples in the exact same neighborhood with the same square footage. Why is this one better? Well, because I can stand behind it. I can give you a warranty. I'm here to talk to you about it. And
we have 0 cases of ASR. You can guarantee that that pool is not going to have any problems. And that is absolutely true. Literally in a neighborhood I was just driving through, I have a previous homeowner that we built a pool for, and this exact scenario is happening. Right across the street, it says for sale with a pool sign on it. Their house has for sale with a pool on it. As a realtor, if I am selling that house that is an Austin Dreamscapes property, I want to tell anybody that's coming for a showing, I want them to know that if you're bringing a buyer out here to this neighborhood and you're looking for a pool in the backyard, my listing is valued higher than that listing across the street because it is an Austin Dreamscapes pool. Absolutely. Hands down.
People are literally getting letters in the mail and you don't have any signs of failure with your pool, but all of a sudden your name is now pulled into a lawsuit of a pool that's probably got cancer that isn't showing signs yet. And that is such an amazing feeling to know that our customers don't receive these letters. And if you sell a home and then all of a sudden you're getting a letter in the mail from a pool that you have really zero knowledge about, now you got to pay all that money that the other person had to pay, but that's on you now. You got to now figure out how to get rid of this cancerous pool out of your yard and turn what used to be an amazing yard into a complete disaster. And it's just a nice feeling to know that we give people that peace of mind that you're not going to be in that situation.
Absolutely. I think it's really important that our reputation, supersedes us, honestly. If you look at our online presence, I think it's really beautiful how many 5-star reviews we get. I tell this to people all the time. I'm like, there are bots. I get emails as a business owner all the time from bot companies that are like, we're going to, you can pay for Google reviews. I don't know if you know that, but you can pay for them. We don't. But, it seems like in today's day and world, it's really hard to get a good positive feedback review. It's real easy to get a negative review. People that are upset are real quick to get to their keyboard and type about how terrible of a service they received or this terrible experience they had. I don't have a single bad review, not a single bad review. And I think that speaks to the quality of our product and the relationship that we have built and the way that we have taken care of our homeowners. Everyone that we have met and built a pool for has had a wonderful experience. They say so. And they just may not have gotten to Google yet to put it out there, but they will one day because we're going to keep asking for those good reviews. But I think it's really interesting too. If I dig into some of these other pool builders, I've seen one in particular that stands out. It was a 1-star review. And usually I will dismiss a 1-star review as that person was upset. But if you read closely, literally the lady says, this 1-star review is going to stay blank, blank, pool company. I am not going to take down my 1-star review just for you to come out and honor your warranty. You're going to come out here and you're going to honor your warranty regardless of the review I give you online. And that made me suspicious because that tells me that company that has a bunch of good reviews, they are out there telling people to take down the bad ones in order for them to come stand behind their product. So how many bad reviews have there actually been where they have just taken them down because they've actually shown up to help that homeowner by honoring the warranty that they said they had in the first place? Like, that seems very shady to me.
That's worse than bots, I think.
Agreed.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And I'm like, guys, I really wish people would just take the time. It's such a big purchase. Take the time, look deep, think critically about the results that you're seeing in your Google search. Be critical. Look at the reviews, dig into the reviews, look at that company's website. Look at each of those project folders. Are they stock photos? Are they only final photos? Or do you see behind the curtain? Do you get a good warm and fuzzy that this person is being transparent? Or do you get the salesman tactic at the door where the guy feels like he's throwing in the doormats, but wait, I have to go talk to my manager first? Like, what's the vibes? I think vibes are really important. You will know right off the bat if you trust this person, like this person, and that is where we come from. I think we show up authentically. We treat people fair and honestly, and I think that really results in a good relationship. And because of that, we are good people and we attract good people. And our customer base are great people. And they're just such great homeowners. And I'm so blessed to be in the business that we're in and to be able to make these impactful, life-changing changes to these people's backyards. And we got to play a small part in their families.
Yeah, I always like telling people we're selling you memories. We're selling you experiences. It's more than just a pool. I'm not so much into selling a pool. It's more just selling what you can do with your pool is amazing.
Right.
How many pools do you think we've built for people in our churches or in our Boy Scout troop? It's
a lot of Boy Scout troop.
You're a Boy Scout leader.
Right. A scout is trustworthy. I tell that to people all the time. I'm like, good, homeowner, when they give me feedback about how comfortable you made me. Well, that's good because a scout is always trustworthy. Like, I'm gonna, we're gonna wrap it up in 5, but yeah, good, because it's hot in here. I'm sweating.
Yeah, I was looking at the clock. I was like, we're probably about it. That's why I'm trying to hit you just kind of rapid, like, I don't know, random, just kind of filler things.
Let's do the heavy hit. What are the things we want to say real quick? And we want to have a quick little 1-2 punch. Oh my God, it's hot.
I know, I'm starting to lose my focus too, because I'm just like, dang.
I'm sweating in here in these lights.
I don't know. Do you have any questions that you would ask for, like, a building perspective, or because I've kind of, I think, touched on a lot of, like, my list is done. Because I mean, so like, what actually drives your pool budget up or down? Like, HOAs and permitting. All of that's handled in house.
So one of the best things that I think that we do really well is because I touch the design and I pull the permits, I know a lot about the city restrictions before the first call, right? If I get a call out to someone out in Pflugerville, I know how they're going to do business and I know what they're looking for. And so the permitting process is clunky at first. You know, the first time I had to get through one of these city municipalities, it was a little, clunky, and I kind of had to go back with some revisions, but now I know. And I already know when I go into the design consultation meeting, I'm going to have to be 5 foot off the setback, or, here I'm in Crystal Falls. That HOA has an additional setback requirement of 10 feet from the property line, and which is crazy, but whatever. So I know I'm not even going to bother putting my pool there because I don't want to show you something that's not going to get approved. I'm going to present you what is going to get approved. And so then that way we have that peace of mind that when we sign a contract on a design, that is the one that we're going to be building because I've already done the due diligence and I've already done the looking to see what municipality you're in before we even meet. I'm going to do all of that homework. You know, I have a customer that I worked with yesterday that, last week, for instance, that they didn't have their septic plan. I know that in the city of Leander, I'm not going to be able to get a permit until I have their pool on a septic plan. He didn't get one when he went to closing. He didn't get one. And he called around and he tried to get from the Williamson County and the city, he tried to get his OSSF, which is basically a fancy term for their septic, on-site septic, whatever. So I went around him and was like, I'm going to help you. I'm literally just one of many that you're interviewing to build your pool. I went around them and I went to the county. I have some connections because of what I do. And I'm like, hey, here's my dilemma. And we stayed in communication and she went and she did she jumped through some hoops for me. I jumped through some hoops for the homeowner. I went back to the homeowner and I said, here's your septic plan. They were like, oh my God, really? Amazing.
Well, I guess on that's pretty much... That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Yeah,
we got it all. We'll do more next time. Yay!
I think we're good here.
Oh my God, it's hot.